pushed on out. And what we're gonna talk about, man, is what's up, GG? Hey, GG, how you doing? GG, you from Chicago? Are you GG in Chicago? Good morning, GG. I don't know if you're from Chicago or not. GG. I'm trying to find I've been looking for a friend of mine, a childhood friend of mine named GG from Chicago. I don't know where she at now. She's about 40, something there. So everything that we talk about, man, I'm for those of y'all don't know, I'm DeJuan, the leader Bryant, entrepreneur, retired military, and haven't been on Facebook consistently often because I'm constantly doing research and trying to find ways make sense. Find ways to make sense as far as building wealth and what that entails, and really what that wealth building strategy is really about and what that means, because it's obvious it's going to mean different for different people, and that's that's of course. But overall, what that wealth building process is going to mean when it comes down to being honest. A lot of us have to break our habits. We have to break the habits that we have and understand that it's just not about the economy, or we can sit and say, okay, well, we're going to go through a recession. I want you to know something. The economy is always going through a recession. It goes up, it comes down. It goes up, it comes down. It goes, and it's done that way. It's kind of like constructed that way to where you never have that point of where there becomes a bust of inflation everywhere, right? So the economy goes up, it comes down, goes up, comes down. Sometimes it levels off. So it's meant to go up and down in a way that it keeps the economy bustling. It keeps it bustling and moving, in a type of way. But it's never meant to go so far down, and it's really never meant to peak at its highest potential, because then you can possibly have, in my own opinion, possibly have that turnover of inflation running through. But here's the thing we don't never do. As people, we don't never look at the possibility or the understanding of inflation. Hey, Miracle, how you doing? So, we have to understand the residual process that we're all going through right now. People keep talking about the economy going through inflation, economy going through this, and that's always going to happen. But the point where we have to make and putting ourselves separate is, are we putting ourselves in a position to where we're financially able to really get into some of these areas out here in the economy that's going to give us not just passive income, but allow us to live a lifestyle to where we are enjoying ourselves greatly, right? And what I mean by that is this. I mean by there's 4 quadrants, right? There's 4 quadrants, and we never study this in school. This is when study as an entrepreneur, study in business, it's study when you're sitting down talking to people who are millionaires and businesses and stuff like that, and owners, But there's 4 quadrants. There's an employer. There's people who's always going to be the employer, right? Or the employee working for somebody, getting a W-2 at the end of the year, and for some reason thinking that because they get a refund on a percentage of the money they gave away in taxes on the year, they become wealthy. And that's not true, right? The employee is a liability, right? And the employee is the most taxed person of anyone. The employee is always taxed the most, right? We got that. Bam, we get it. But now we look at other points. You got the employee, then you got self-employed. Now, the employee does one thing. The employee takes a lot of time and they work for somebody else, and they're making somebody else money, and they're getting paid what that person values their time or their ability at, which is whatever they're getting paid, whatever their salary is or whatever, or getting paid by the hour, whatever it is, right? Now, what you think about it? We've all been in that position of employee. I've been an employee, even when it came down to being in the military, I was still an employee. I was still at a glass limit of what my value really was when it came down to it. And it wasn't just me, it's thousands of other service members and military that was employees as well. But when you're at that employee level, you're not the boss. You're not able. You are working to be. Your raise is only guaranteed by somebody else signing off on it. So you can work as hard as you want to. You can go put 70 hours a week in a job or 60 hours a week in a job, and the person that's above you or that says, okay, well, you don't deserve a raise, they don't give you no raise, right? Now, then you have the self-employed. The self-employed person is kind of that person, they may work, and then on a part-time, they have a business, which is cool. Nothing wrong with that, right? And that's great. You got the employee, you got self-employed, and then you have those people who are, and here's the thing with the person who is self-employed is a lot of times in our society, we think, that person self-employed running is a hustler, or per se, we give them that type of title or whatever like that, right? But that self-employed person sometimes working harder than a person who's employee there is a freedom to own your own business. There is a freedom to making your own money, absolutely. And they're starting in that 4-quadrant system. We got to understand, as we're building wealth, as we're pushing to build wealth, we have to take our mindset out of that employee stance. There's nothing wrong working for somebody, but you need to also have different streams of income, different lines of residuals, different lines that's going to allow you to build wealth. And if you're not about building wealth, I understand, I get it. Good, I can't do anything about that. But if you are about building wealth and you really understand that it's just not about having a recession, but it's about the longevity of being able to be the master of your own land, right? Andre Hatchett had this thing out where it's called Own to Be Owned, right? And I'm going to see if I can, matter of fact, let me see if I can get him on here. Dan Thomas, how you doing? Just sit up here, Dan Thomas, talking about wealth, talking about building wealth, and what all that entails when you're building wealth, and what it means for people to take that, take that part serious in building wealth, because it's very important. I don't think I have Erica Williams on here. I'm gonna see if I can possibly get her at some point. Probably shouldn't be driving when I'm driving at the point, but I ain't got her on here, so yeah. So I invited Andre Hatchett on here. And Andre Hatchett is a guy who, a gentleman, African-American, up here in Atlanta, who's doing great when it comes down to real estate and a black business school and things like that. But I'm just talking about us building wealth. I'm getting back on here, Facebook. I had some time where I was not on it. Hey, cuz, how you doing? But what I'm talking about is that we don't never look at building wealth, and really, whether you take it in the principles of it, you're being disciplined by it, or whatever, that a lot of that building wealth responsibility relies upon us and open up our eyes to things, right? If I'm always working for somebody else, I'm always going to be probably at that person's glass ceiling of what they want me to have in salary, or what they want me to have as far as money per hour getting paid. Then if I'm self-employed, yes, I'm working, a lot of my time is done into my own business, but I'm also have the type of freedom and flexibility of where, okay, I can at least make some type of calls and moves for myself. Our problem that we've had is that we're taught these things. We're taught, go to school, get good grades, graduate high school, go to college, do great in college, graduate college, and then leave college and go work for somebody else. And I want to let you know this. You can look at some of the top businesses in America. The top businesses in America alone are started by people with a high school diploma. They start the business and they hire people with a bachelor's or master's or PhD to help run the company for them. And here's the backwards part about that. You have, I'm not saying bragging, but I have people who have PhDs, right? And I'm not saying they brag about their PhDs, but they definitely put out there, they have a bachelor, they have a PhD, they have this, they have masters, and there's nothing wrong with that. But yet they work for somebody. They work for somebody in a glass ceiling of what that person project their salary to be. Here's why in America, the entrepreneur is benefited. America ain't nothing but a big old bowl of entrepreneurism. You say capitalism, I say entrepreneurism, right? Because our whole government system is based on, if I break stuff down to you, some people ain't understand it, but I'm gonna tell you like this. There is a profit for everything. And there's a way to keep more money in your pocket. But there's also a way of being able to have more flexibility in your life and more ownership of your life is when you become an owner. A lot of us are looking at things about being employees and thinking because we get a 6-figure salary, we're doing it. Yeah, you're doing it. You are. But if that person stopped paying you 6 figures, where you get some more money from? We have to start getting into, and I'm not saying it's for everybody, because entrepreneurialism is not for everybody. It's a certain mindset. It's a certain, it's a certain pain you got to take on, and it's some tears you got to cry. But understanding and the humbleness that you're going to have, but understanding that if we embrace our own intelligence, and I tell people this all the time. I say, you have a skill and a gift, but you allow somebody to make 3 times more money off of you, of your own skill and gift, than you make for yourself. Why is that? Because you have people who are scared, people who don't, and then you have people who don't really want to be entrepreneurs. They don't mind work for somebody. They don't want to do the hard work, and there's nothing wrong with that. But here's the thing: don't complain when somebody else is guiding your ship and telling you where you're going to go. Don't complain about it. Now, the reason why I say that is look at GM. GM is about to lay off 15,000 American employees, right? What's up? I can't even say. Oh, thank you, cuz. I appreciate it very much. Thank you. I appreciate it, cuz. Love you very much. And GM is about to lay off 15,000 of its employees. 15,000 people. Now, we already knew, they say this, the recession, stuff like that, but the economy is already geared and designed to go up and down, right? That's how you keep inflation and all that stuff kind of like levels off. It goes so much, then the economy drops. Goes so much, and the economy drops. But here's the thing: they'll allow 15,000 employees. 15,000 people have already been given. I mean, it ain't about 15,000. Everybody who worked for GM should be under the perception, I'm going to lose my job. The only people that lose their job in GM is the founder, right? The CEO and the GM, or the president, however you want to say it. Anybody else in GM can lose their job. But here's the thing: people think that GM is not failing, and the reason why I say that is because the owner of GM will never fire him or herself. The family who owns GM, they're not going to fire themselves. They're still going to make money. They're still going to make money. Why? Because you got cars out here. Why? Because you got other GM products out here. They're always going to make money. But the employee is the one that's suffering because they haven't grasped the part of ownership. Ownership. He who owns rules, right? Owner of my own land. If you own your land, can't nobody come in your land and tell you how you're going to build on it, right? And that's why people don't mind owning. And this has been going on for hundreds of years. People have been in the mindset of ownership. We have to understand about getting in the mindset of ownership. And if that means some of us coming together, that's great. That means some of us being able to network together and start business together. I think that's even awesome. I think it's great if you got family members who can come to agree and start businesses. Because the problem we're having right now is that it's just not about GM laying off jobs. Other companies and businesses are going to be laying off people too. And what happens is that now these people are no longer to sustain the type of financial lifestyle they were before. But they're always thinking in the process of being an employee. Oh, I got to find another job. I got to find a way to continue to provide for my family. And I guarantee you, if I was able to talk to these people, out of 15,000 people, I could probably find 15,000 people that have a gift and an ability and something that's God given to them that would generate income for them and their family that would be beyond the salary they was making at GM. I guarantee you. Why? Because we have this great thing called the internet. And like a friend of mine, Greg Wilson, says, the internet has changed the game. You can literally do business in your living room, in your pajamas, ain't brushed your teeth, with somebody in China over the internet, with somebody in the Philippines over the internet, with somebody in Saudi Arabia or Dubai over the internet. It's happening every day. But and we look at, and I'm going to break this down to you and get this to you too. Kmart closed its doors. Sears closed its doors. What's the other one? Was it JCPenney? JCPenney too? I think, I don't know. But there's another one that closed the doors or whatever, went out of business, laid off a lot of people. And here's the thing. They're laying off people, but they're still in business. Only thing they did, they took it and now they switched and they say, well, you know what we're going to do? We're going to take it to the internet. We're going to go to the internet. We're going to save a lot of money. We're going to sell products on the internet. We're shutting down these stores, these buildings that we have. We're going to close them buildings up, and we're going to take it to the internet. Because why? It's less overhead. Now we ain't got to pay a lot of people. What's up, Dallas? How you doing? Love you. And, you know, it becomes that process. Like, I took this whole year, and I'm going to tell you guys something else, too. Let me break away from this for 1 second. I had to take an inventory of myself financially of what I was doing. And I'm not the type of person, I do like to spend money. I like to make money. But we all know that what my goal is next year is to buy my first investment property, in real estate property, by June. And the other goals I have too. My nail salon, my beauty supply store, all that stuff, right? But then when I do them, I went on my bank statements. I said, okay, let me see where I'm spending money at. So this coming in year, I can be more disciplined and I can start directing money in different ways, right? Take money and put it towards something else. So I did 6 months. In 6 months, I spent about $7,000 in eating out. In 6 months. And I was adding it up. And I'm, you know what I'm saying? I was adding this up and I was like, okay, it's not funny, but it's something when we begin to check ourselves, when we begin to say, okay, this is where I'm messing up at, this is where I'm going wrong at. Love you too. You know. Love you, cuz. Love you too. Hey, Lane, I'm about to get to California one day and see you. I ain't seen you in a long, long time. I was a baby last time. I think I saw you, maybe 3 or something like that, 4. But, you know, just that understanding of being in I guess, in a way, in that situation. $7,000 in 6 months I spent out on eating. That's not even counting that's counting eating out in retail. $7,000. So I put both of them together. That's 6 months. So if I go another 6 months and I'm doing my statements, I'm looking at maybe $14,000 in eating out in retail in a year. I can't, you know, I do like to dress nice, but I can dress a lot cheaper. And I don't need to be eating out as much because I need to be losing weight anyway. I'm 265. I'm supposed to be down 210. So that's that type of thing that I do for myself. And like I tell people all the time, I say, I'm going to be on YouTube. I have my YouTube channel, putting everything I put on YouTube. I'm going to be taking you guys on a journey, on a walk with me as I go through YouTube and doing a lot of what I do as far as the business. I fix my own credit, showing people how to fix their own credit as well. Talk about that. Talking about the purchasing of real estate. Talking about that. The journey of my beauty supply store, my nail salon, all those things right there. Because I'm going to get them. But the first thing I had to do is look at what I did as far as my statements. I'm like, in 6 months, I've done $7,000 in retail and eating out. So, and then, you know, I'm like, okay, that's a problem. Here's the reason why it's a problem. That's money that I'm pretty much giving away to somebody else. And I'm not saying this, and I like to go out to eat, but I can cut that down. Go out and eat on the weekends. I'm going to eat out. I don't got to eat out during the week and stuff like that. Or fast food all the time. Excuse me, fast food all the time. You know, how can I do better in what I'm going to do as I push forward is very important, because I have a responsibility, not just to myself and my goals, but also to my followers and those who view me. And it's that, like I tell you guys, it's that thing when we talk about building wealth, that thing we talk about financial responsibility. I guarantee you, if you sit down and go through your bank statements, you can see where you're spending a lot of money probably in the area where you can cut back on, or where you're spending too much money in things, or where something you need to get from under, right? And it's just kind of like, it becomes that simple thing, or that simple understanding that we have to become the owners. We have to become the captains of our own ship. And as we're sailing that ship, as we're doing what we have to do. Now, back to what I was saying before. The opportunity for us to build wealth is out here. Opportunity for us to gain more money, to have more money, to do a lot of things that we want to do is out here. But we have to take it serious enough, in a serious enough manner, to where we're doing and we're taking the right steps. Like I talked to my family about, like being able to talk to them about is, I think, you know, be nice of we can be able to start a family business. You know, start a business. And yeah, it ain't gonna be every family member. It's gonna be those who have the same mindset. Start a business together. Why not? Because in everything we're learning right now is that every opportunity we have, everything that we're being able to garner, everything we're being able to push forward with, it's going to be on those same levels, those lines of us taking advantage of the opportunity sit before us financially. And it's just that serious. It becomes that point where we have to want it, and not just talk about wanting it, but being transparent to doing and applying the right applications, the right disciplines, and make a standard for what we really want, because it's out here to have, right? We got to get out of the mindset. We need a ball. We don't need a ball. Balling ain't never got us nowhere. Yeah, we get nice outfits. We roll and have a nice car and things like that. But when we look at it, balling ain't never really did anything for us, but put us deeper and deeper in debt. And that debt is creating a lot of hardships in our life. We're going our whole life being in debt, and then trying to tell somebody else, well, you should make better decisions. And they're like, well, you should make the same decision yourself. You know, you 60, 70 years old, 80 years old, you can make the same decision yourself. Why didn't you make them? Well, I'm just telling you, young. And nothing wrong with good advice, but let's start applying that advice way before we need to get a light bulb come on for us to give it to somebody else, right? Here's my thing, people, is that I want you to think about this. Residual income. Being in the position that we can absolutely have income coming into our pockets passively, which means that we're not even working for that income, but it's coming to us every month, twice a month, 4 times a month, whatever. And the way that I look at it is that in one way of that being there is clearly by real estate. And that's just for me, real estate. I hit up Erica Williams on YouTube. I look at her YouTube channel when she's doing her thing. I look at Andre Hatchett when he's doing his. I look at Jay Morrison when he's doing his. I'm going to have a little, I guess you say, workshop or pamphlet, or however you want to say, guide to people that's interested in doing business, getting real estate and stuff like that. Because like I tell you, I'm not so much about the glitter and glamour, but I want to take you all through the process and walk you through everything that I'm doing, so that way, you know, you may avoid a stumbling block yourself, or you may be able to show me something that have overlooked that I can do that make things better as I'm going along too. So, real estate, and I'm gonna tell you guys, I look on auction.com for real estate. I look on Zillow. I look on Redfin. I look on Realtor.com. I look all over the place for different real estate opportunities, because one thing I do know is that if you have a nice place, whether you rent it out or selling it, if it's nice, somebody wants to buy it. Somebody wants to buy it. Especially when it comes down to renting, somebody gonna want to rent something that you have, especially if it's nice. And that's the process of us understanding and grasping when it comes down to residual income or residualness of us bringing in passive money. You know, we have to get out of the mindset of always working hard for money and find a way that our money works hard for us, and we don't have to work hard for it. So I'm on this back road back here, and I see this thing about to probably go out over here. I know if Verdel's on here and Lane was on here, but I'm gonna be back on here again talking some more, because I definitely want to talk about the 4 quadrants: the employee, self-employed, business owner, and investor. I definitely want to talk about those four quadrants, even more in depth, and have us to get an understanding of them. And you know, if people have questions or whatever like that, that's great too. So I can't really respond back on here, so I'm going to get off of here, finish this drive right here. I'll see you guys again probably maybe about 3 hours from now. I'll see you back on here, 3 or 4 hours back on here. talking about building wealth, money, taxes, generational wealth, gentrification. You know, gentrification, talk about as well, and group economics. Group economics, baby, we're back. Group economics, we're back. You know, so tune in to me. I'm gonna have my YouTube. I'm gonna try to get my YouTube link up too, and put that in the thing as well. My YouTube link, but my YouTube name is Dewan, the Leader Bryant, as well. So tune into that as well, and I'll talk to you, ladies and gentlemen, in a little bit. All right, bye bye.